Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about Hanzo. And for those of you who don't know, Hanzo Shimada is the ex-leader of the criminal organization known as the Hishimada clan. In his time as leader, the clan elders spoke to him about approaching his younger brother Genji. Now Genji's another playable character in Overwatch and one I should have a video on eventually. But at the time, Genji lived a life of excess and luxury. And when Hanzo approached him about the responsibility the clan needed him to take, he denied it. He refused to take any responsibility, and therefore Hanzo was forced to kill him. It was at this time that Hanzo left the Hishimada clan in a rage. After being forced to kill his own brother under their command, he left. And from there on out, he kind of became a wayward soul, just traveling the world aimlessly, honing his skills as an archer. Also, just as a side note, if you watch the Overwatch short Dragons, which I highly recommend, and there'll be a link in the description, it's discovered that Hanzo travels to the shrine that is dedicated to honor Genji every year on the same day. But back into the important stuff. Now that his backstory is put out of the way, we can head into the stats. Hanzo is classified as a sniper, but he truly shines in mid-range combat, as his arrow drop can affect accuracy at longer distances, but not those medium to short distances. He can also be used offensively in certain scenarios. Hanzo has two abilities, the first being the Sonic Arrow, in which he launches an arrow that contains a sonar tracking device, and any enemy within its detection radius is visibly marked, making it easier for Hanzo and your allies to hunt them down. His second being the Scatter Arrow, in which Hanzo shoots a fragmenting arrow that ricochets off walls and objects and can strike multiple targets at once. And then finally his ultimate, Dragon Strike. He summons a spirit dragon that can travel through walls and damage enemies immensely. Now, these are just things that I've gathered in my time playing Hanzo, which is just a little over 20 hours. The first being that the Sonic Arrow will pierce opponents and follow them around, making it mobile and exposing any enemies that go near the person who is stuck. The second being with the Scatter Arrow. Now, if you're going to use the Scatter Arrow, it is most practical and effective to use it on the ground in front of your opponent, as this kind of lodges all the smaller arrows into the chest or head of the opponent. It's depending on the character height. The Dragon Strike, his ultimate, is excellent at clearing off points. It's amazing at capturing or escorting a payload. The disadvantage, however, is that it's really easy to see coming. He yells in Japanese before he actually uses it. It travels, not at an impressive rate. And not to mention that it's, enormous. It's two giant dragons just kind of tripping over each other. The way to counter this is to put it in an unpredictable spot. To put it above the enemy, below the enemy, and they'll either move off the point or they'll die caught inside the Dragon Strike. And either way, it helps your team. Now let's talk about some of Hanzo's counters. Now the biggest issue I've had personally is D.Va. Now D.Va has a high armor, high health, and a high fire rate who excels in close range opponent. And in the case that she needs to get out of a situation quickly, she can very easily. And that makes it frustrating as a mid-ranged sniper to have to, combat that. Not to mention that you basically have to kill her twice. The first time, defeating a difficult opponent for Hanzo, as they have a lot of health and are good at close range. And the second time, as they're very quick and agile whenever she pops out of her mech. And this can become really frustrating. The best strategy against her is get as close as possible. Once you get within a certain range of her defense matrix can't stop your arrows, and you can just shoot for the cockpit, the big critical spot on her face, all day. Now, the easiest way to handle the miniature, the unmech'd version of D.Va, is to shoot at the ground in front of her, because it's very difficult with her speed to actually, manage to land a shot on her. So it's much more reliable to use kind of the shotgun arrow, the scatter arrow. Other counters include Winston, Tracer, Widowmaker at a range, Reaper, Roadhog, basically anyone who's really high damage, has really good at close range, or has really high health. Everyone else is simple to take out. And it's not that you can't take out a D.Va or a Tracer whenever you're playing him. It can be done. It's just more difficult than some of the other characters. That's it. Whoo! You made it through. You made it through the whole video, and I did too. I'm pretty surprised. I don't have an outro. I don't have one. All I have is at the end of this, I'll play a short little clip of my friend explaining Scientology to me. So everyone have a very nice day, and please comment actually how good that gameplay was. I'm interested to know. Goodbye. What is Scientology exactly? I just hear crap about it 24/7.
You pay, you go to heaven. You pay more, you go to more heaven.